Welcome. Welcome to my latest video blog. Today, we're going to talk about loneliness in the holiday season. The holiday season is a time to be with our friends, our family, to experience the warmth, the comfort of our friendships, of our loving relationships, whether they're with our family, our children, or a very special partner. But for many, the holiday season is a time of loneliness. It's a time when they feel most alone in the world. To be clear, being alone and loneliness are not the same. Being alone is a description of where you are in any given moment. You can be quite happy and quite content while you're alone. Or being alone could be a very painful and for some, lonely experience. Loneliness is not just an emotional feeling or condition when you're not around people. How many times have we been around people and felt disconnected or lonely? For many, loneliness is a feeling that pervades their life, that follows them, whether they're in a big crowd, they're at work, or they're at home, alone. So why do so many people feel lonely during the holiday season? Is it because they lack friends, they lack social opportunities, that they're actually alone? It's my experience that the loneliness is deeply embedded in their personal and psychological experience with themselves. In other words, loneliness is not so much what's happening in the very moment and how you feel in any given time. It's deeply connected. It's rooted in one's childhood. During my own recovery from codependency, I often struggled with loneliness. It was difficult to be at home by myself because the pain that accompanied loneliness was palpable. It almost felt physical. Many people survive their loneliness by trying to either distract themselves or self-medicate. Because when they do think about it, when they do become honest with themselves, they realize that they're not happy in their own skin. They feel ashamed, they have self-doubt, and their self-esteem is usually pretty low. That if we're going to solve this terrible condition of loneliness, we have to look at its cause, its roots. It's just not how we think. It's just not dysfunctional thought processes or distorted thinking. It's about our thoughts about who we are, where we are in our life. Are we happy with who we are? Are we happy where we are in a relationship or at work? To solve this loneliness problem, we have to go back and find out what happened to ourselves. Why and when did we start to feel so discontent, unhappy, and perhaps even angry and ashamed of ourselves? Because loneliness cannot exist if you feel good about yourself, if you love yourself, for all your flaws. To solve the loneliness problem, we have to learn to love ourselves. We have to find out, where did it go wrong for us? What happened to us? Because people that do not struggle with loneliness, they feel good in their own skin. They love themselves. They feel good about themselves despite not being where they want to be or not being with people that they want to be with. If you're going to conquer and get past the gnawing feeling of loneliness, if you want to fight back, you have to discover how to love yourself. You have to discover that you truly are worthy of your own love. I know it's almost cliche, but truly the greatest love is to love oneself. It is inconceivable to love someone in a healthy and enduring way and not love yourself. It's impossible to love others if you are ashamed and angry about who you are. No one can ever take away that feeling of loneliness. No one can ever make your self-esteem better. It's in you, and it can't be taken away by another person. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If we're going to finally stop that insanity, finally reach out, perhaps to a therapist, maybe through church or synagogue, but go beyond our sad, angry, self-loathing feelings and find peace. It's only through this process this transformative process, this journey, this healing path, are we going to finally look at loneliness square in the eyes, and we're going to finally let it go? It takes courage. It takes guts. Get out of that darkness. Get out of the sadness. Get out of the pity party of your life and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I don't want to be lonely anymore. There comes a point where the pain needs to lead you to a path of freedom. And the freedom is that path up to heal those wounds, those traumas that taught them that they're just not okay. And one step at a time, I promise you, you're going to fall in love with yourself. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. We start to love ourselves. We start to appreciate ourselves. We start to cut ourselves some slack. We start to have empathy for ourselves. We start to forgive ourselves. In this process of self-forgiveness, in this process, we build a foundation that becomes resilient to loneliness. So in this holiday season, I say to you, if you feel lonely, look yourself in the mirror. Look deeply into your eyes. And if you see loneliness, what you're seeing is a person who has pain and unresolved trauma. And it's time to take care of it. Because I promise you, absolutely promise you, if you do the work, you can get to the other side. Because I used to be a very lonely person. But now, I can be alone and enjoy the freedom of being alone. And if I do ever find myself feeling lonely, to me that's a sign. That's a sign that I need to look at something inside. It's time for me to look at what is the cause and to solve it. So I say with great affection to my video audience, don't let loneliness get you down this season. Fight back. Fall in love with yourself. And being alone just might not be that